My fiancée texted, I uninvited your veteran friends from the wedding. They make people uncomfortable with their injuries. I'd served with these men for 5 years. I replied, understood. Then I canceled the wedding, threw a party for my brothers instead, and posted every photo. When she saw the event she'd been excluded from, original post, I, 32 male, am a veteran. Did 2 tours overseas, came back with most of my pieces intact. Some of my brothers weren't so lucky. So here's what happened. Wedding was supposed to be in 3 weeks. I'd been with my fiancée for 4 years, engaged for 18 months. We'd already sent invitations, paid deposits, the whole 9 yards. I thought I knew this woman. My groomsmen were my squad, 5 guys I serve with. One lost his left arm below the elbow. Another has burns scarring on about 40% of his face and neck. A third walks with a pronounced limp from shrapnel damage to his leg. These men saved my life. Literally, I wouldn't be breathing without them. Yesterday, I get a text while I'm at work. Just casually, like she's telling me she picked up milk. Hey babe, so I talked to my mom and we decided it's probably best if your army friends don't come to the wedding. Some of her friends already said they'd be uncomfortable around them and we don't want the photos to look weird. You understand, right? Love you. I stare at my phone for maybe 10 minutes. Read it 6 times to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. I replied, understood. That's it. 2 words. Then I left work early. I drove to the venue first, explained the situation to the coordinator, that the wedding was canceled due to irreconcilable differences discovered late in planning. She was sympathetic. We'd lose the deposit, obviously, about $4,200, but at that point I didn't care. She said she'd handle notifying the caterer and florist on her end since we'd booked through them. Then I called my best man, told him what happened. Dead silence for about 30 seconds. Then he just said, what do you need? I said I needed to throw a party. This Saturday. For the guys. Something good. He said he'd handle it. By the time I got home that evening, my fiancée was there, acting completely normal. Making dinner. Asked me how my day was. I said fine. We need to talk. She smiled. About what, babe? The wedding's off. She laughed. Actually laughed. What? Because of the text? Come on, don't be dramatic. My mom's friends are important people. We're trying to make a good impression. Your friends will understand. They're military. They get sacrifice. I told her that wasn't sacrifice. Sacrifice is what those men gave for this country. What she was asking was discrimination against disabled veterans because they might make her mom's book club uncomfortable. She rolled her eyes. Literally rolled her eyes at me. You're being ridiculous. It's one day. They can come to the reception or something, just not the ceremony. The pictures are forever. I asked her if she'd even heard herself speak. She said I was overreacting and that we could discuss it when I calmed down. I told her I was perfectly calm. I'd canceled the venue. I was going to contact the other vendors in the morning, and I'd appreciate it if she could move her things out by the weekend. The apartment lease was in my name, had been since before we met. That's when she finally got it. The next 3 hours were exhausting. Tears, accusations, apologies that weren't really apologies. I'm sorry you feel that way. Threats to tell everyone I was being abusive, the whole playbook. She called her mother, who showed up and started screaming at me about how I was ruining her daughter's life over some crippled strangers. I recorded that part. Figured it might be useful. I slept on my buddy's couch that night. Gave her until Saturday to get her stuff. Changed the locks on Sunday after confirming she was gone. Update 1. Okay, so things escalated faster than I expected. The party happened Saturday. It was everything. My best man booked out a private room at this barbecue place we all love, the kind with the long wooden tables and the meat sweats guaranteed. All 5 of my groomsmen were there, plus about 12 other guys from our unit who could make it on short notice. Some drove 6 hours. We did toasts. We told stories. My buddy with the burn scars gave a speech about how the wedding would have been nice, but honestly he was just happy to have an excuse to eat his weight in brisket. Everyone laughed until we cried. I posted photos. All of us together, arms around each other, huge smiles. My buddy with the prosthetic arm was doing that thing where he takes it off and pretends to use it as a back scratcher, his party trick that kills every time. I posted maybe 8 pictures total with the caption, surrounded by the best men I know. Wouldn't trade this for anything. Didn't mention the canceled wedding. Didn't need to. My ex found out fast. The mutual friends we had were already asking questions because invitations had gone out, and suddenly there was no wedding, but there was a party she wasn't at. People started putting pieces together. Then her mother decided to go nuclear. She posted on the neighborhood social media group, the kind where everyone discusses HOA violations and lost dogs, about how I had abandoned her daughter at the altar because of my untreated PTSD and violent tendencies. Said I was dangerous and that neighbors should be aware. Let me be clear, I have never been violent with anyone except enemy combatants. I've never even raised my voice at my ex until that final conversation, and even then I didn't yell, I just stated facts. But now I had neighbors looking at me weird. One actually crossed the street when she saw me coming. So I did something I probably shouldn't have, but whatever. I posted the recording, the one where her mother called my brothers crippled strangers. Posted it as a response to her claims about me being dangerous, with the caption, "For context, here's the actual reason the wedding was canceled." That recording went semi-viral locally. Someone shared it to a veterans group, then another. Within 48 hours, it had been viewed about 15,000 times. Her mother deleted her original post, but screenshots exist forever. My ex started texting me. First angry, "You had an O right to post that. My mother's getting death threats." Then pleading, "Please take it down. She's so stressed. She didn't mean it like that." Then threatening, "My cousin is a lawyer, and we're looking into defamation charges." I didn't respond to any of it. Just let it sit. Then she showed up at my apartment, banging on the door at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. I didn't open it. Told her through the door that if she didn't leave, I'd call the police. She screamed that I was ruining her life, that no one would date her now, that she was getting harassed online, that her mother had to take down all her social media. I said that sounded like a consequence. She called me heartless. I called the non-emergency line, explained a woman was banging on my door and refusing to leave. By the time they arrived, she was gone, but I filed a report anyway. Paper trail. My buddy who's a cop in another precinct told me that's the smart play. Document everything. The weirdest part? Her friends started reaching out to my friends, trying to get the real story. They were convinced I must have cheated or done something horrible because nobody cancels a wedding over a text. My best man apparently had a conversation with her maid of honor that went something like, he's clearly hiding something. What really happened? Him, she uninvited his disabled veteran groomsmen because they might make photos look bad. That can't be the only reason. Him, it's literally the only reason. I've seen the text. Well, maybe she had a point. Wedding photos are important. He hung up on her. Update 2. Man, okay. Strap in. So the defamation threat from her cousin the lawyer turned out to be hot air. My buddy who actually practices law looked at it and said posting a recording of someone's words isn't defamation because it's literally what they said. Truth is an absolute defense. Plus it was in my apartment. One-party consent state, completely legal to record. But here's where it gets interesting. My ex worked at a mid-sized marketing firm. Pretty decent job. She was an account manager, making around $65,000. Nice office downtown. She'd been there about 3 years. One of her clients was a national veterans organization. They do fundraising, awareness campaigns, support programs for wounded vets. She managed their account, helped with their annual gala, their donation drives, all of it. Someone sent them the recording. I did not do this. I genuinely don't know who did. Could have been any of the thousands of people who saw it. But someone sent it to the organization's communications director with a note explaining the context. They dropped her firm as their agency of record, a contract worth about $180,000 annually. Her firm lost the account because they didn't want to be associated with someone who referred to disabled veterans as making people uncomfortable. Her firm didn't fire her. That would be too easy and probably illegal anyway, but they restructured her position. She's now doing data entry and internal reports. Pay cut of about $20,000. No more client-facing work. I found this out because her mother called my mother. Yeah, my mom called me confused because some woman she'd never met was screaming at her about how I got her daughter fired and coordinated a harassment campaign and should be arrested for cyberbullying. I had to explain the whole situation to my mother from the beginning. She was quiet for a long time, then said, She wanted your friends excluded because of their injuries? Yes, Mom. Those boys who came to Christmas? Who you said saved your life? Yes, Mom. More silence. Then, I never liked her anyway. She complained about my brisket. Love my mom. So now I'm being blamed for the account loss, even though I had nothing to do with it. But here's the thing. Even if I had sent that recording to the organization, would that be wrong? They deserve to know that the person managing their account thinks disabled veterans make people uncomfortable. That seems like relevant information for a veterans organization. But I didn't send it. I just posted it publicly. What people did with public information is not my responsibility. My ex's attempts to contact me have gotten more creative. She tried emailing me from a new address, blocked. She showed up at the barbecue place where we had the party, apparently thinking I'd be there again. I wasn't, but the owner recognized her from pictures and asked her to leave. She contacted my employer's HR department to complain about me, but since I'd never posted anything about her specifically, just the recording of her mother, there was nothing actionable. Her mother, by the way, has gone completely radio silent. No more neighborhood posts. Her husband, my ex's stepfather, apparently gave her some kind of ultimatum after the recording went viral. I don't know the details, but my ex mentioned something in one of her blocked emails about her mother being cut off from family decisions now. Make of that what you will. The guys have been amazing through all this. Every few days, one of them checks in. We started a group chat called Wedding Crashers, even though technically we crashed our own party. The jokes help. My buddy with the prosthetic sent me a message that said, "Bro, you gave up a wedding for us. That's the most romantically stupid thing anyone's ever done. I love you." I told him I didn't give up anything worth having. Final update. All right, this is probably my last post about this whole situation. Things have settled into a weird kind of normal. The fallout from my ex continues, but I've stopped keeping track. Last I heard through mutual friends, she moved back in with her mother because she couldn't afford her apartment on a reduced salary. The irony of that isn't lost on me. She's now living with a woman whose words cost her the career she had. Her mother never apologized. Not publicly, not privately. I never expected her to. People like that don't see themselves as wrong. They see themselves as victims of other people's oversensitivity. I did get one final message from my ex. She must have created a new email because it got through my filters. It was long, rambling, alternating between apologizing and blaming me. The gist was, she was sorry the text came across harshly, but she still thought I overreacted. The wedding could have been worked out if I'd just been willing to compromise. She never actually said she was wrong about my friends, just that she wished she'd worded it differently. She ended by saying she hoped I was happy now that I'd chosen strangers over the woman who loved me. I didn't respond, but I thought about it a lot. Those strangers held pressure on my wound for 40 minutes when I got hit. Those strangers carried my buddy out of a burning vehicle. Those strangers sat with me through nightmares and bad days and the long adjustment back to civilian life. She never understood that. She saw them as supporting characters in my life. Optional. Removable if they didn't fit the aesthetic she wanted. That's the thing about who someone really is. It doesn't show up when everything's easy. It shows up in how they treat people who have nothing to offer them. My friends couldn't offer her good wedding photos or comfortable conversations with her mother's book club. So they were disposable. I wasn't going to build a life with someone who thought like that. Not for 1,000 weddings. Not for anything. The guys and I are planning a trip for later this year. Nothing fancy, just renting a cabin somewhere, probably grilling too much meat and playing cards and telling the same stories we've told 100 times. My buddy with the burn scars is bringing his girlfriend. He met her at a support group for burn survivors about a year ago. She's great. My buddy with the prosthetic is bringing his dog, who is objectively the best dog on the planet. I'll probably be the single one there. That's fine. I'm not looking right now. Maybe eventually, but not yet. I need some time to trust my own judgment again, to understand how I spent 4 years with someone and didn't see who she really was until 3 weeks before the wedding. Or maybe I did see it. Little moments I explain away. The time she said she didn't want to go to my buddy's birthday because it would be depressing. The way she always had an excuse to skip our unit reunions. The comments about how my PTSD made her feel like she was walking on eggshells. even though I've been in therapy for years and have it well managed. Looking back, the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. So that's it. That's the whole story. My wedding was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, and instead it became the day I found out who my fiancée really was. I lost $4,200 in deposits, a relationship I thought would last forever, and about 4 pounds of weight from the stress. But I kept my brothers, and in the end, they're worth more than anything I gave up. Someone in the comments on my earlier posts asked if I regretted how I handled it. If I wished I tried to work it out, maybe gone to couples counseling, anything besides immediate cancellation. Nah, not for a second. Some things are deal breakers. Some things tell you everything you need to know about a person in a single moment. That text was mine. And honestly, that party at the barbecue place was better than any wedding would have been. My best man's speech had us in tears. The food was incredible. Nobody worried about whether their injuries were making anyone uncomfortable. We were just brothers together, exactly as we should be. That's worth everything.